What's up, guys, and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like on the video. It would be greatly appreciated. In the last episode, we recreated a couple of go-kart tracks from a place in Gulf Shores, Alabama, appropriately named The Track. Of course, if you missed the previous episode, make sure to go back and watch it so you don't miss out on any of the little details and things. But today we're going to be completing the structures around the stations for each of these. In order for us to do that accurately, though, we have to leave Planet Coaster and switch over to Google Earth's Street View. That way we can get a little bit better of an understanding as to how these buildings look in real life. Before I forget, we did recently receive a free update to Planet Coaster 2, but unfortunately it wasn't the management and UI fixes that I and many of us really were hoping for. But there's always next time, right? There is always next time. It seems like the update was really sort of focused on flumes, specifically giving the flumes physics, because they really didn't have any to begin with. So you'll notice when this next group of guests goes down, instead of the raft basically just staying in one place and not really getting up on the sides, it does that now. And it looks considerably better, I think. Also, something that has changed is before, the ride operator or the flume operator wouldn't send down another raft with guests in it unless the raft that went down prior had like fully completed its track, right? So once they get down here, then the next one would go. That's a bad example because we don't really have anyone queuing up for this flume. It does seem like since we changed, this is totally off topic, but it does seem like since we changed the ticket price, specifically for the pool pass to free 99, our guests are back. I don't know if that was also adjusted slightly with this free update, but it's really good to see. I mean, even the lazy river has guests returning to it. And they're starting to, utilize this island bit here in the center. I couldn't be happier about that, dude. Honestly, it's kind of a big deal. I do wish we got the management and UI changes that we were all kind of hoping for, but I understand. The devs are busy. I'm sure they're just trying to crank out stuff as quick as they can, but they don't want to give us updates that aren't like fully fleshed out. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I want to touch on just really quick, and that I promise we will start working on the go-kart track some more, but I got an email this morning from the influencer manager over at Frontier. I believe his name is Chris. He sent over the new Thrill Seekers ride pack to me. So Chris, big shouts out to you and the whole team. Thank you so much, and I really, really do appreciate it. We're gonna drop our little guy down right over here on this main strip, just sort of to the left of the park. It looks like we can also go through the parking lot as well, which might help us out with some additional angles. But what we're really trying to pay attention to here is sort of what colors and material types are being used on these structures. Obviously, just from the satellite image alone, we already knew the roof was yellow, but now I can see that it's kind of a corrugated metal type material. The columns of this might be a little difficult to create in-game. They look a little skinny. Again, we can take some more creative liberties with the structure as well. I don't really see a problem with that. I don't remember there even being this sort of observation deck on top of the station or the queue for the carts. And like the base structure is made out of concrete. I don't remember that either. It has been a while since I've last been here. I wonder if we could create these sort of like bulbous looking light posts too. I mean, that's a big part of this place. They are everywhere. They're all over. Their whole like color scheme. Oh, looks like we're going the speed limit. That's good. Just under it. Their whole sort of color scheme is kind of this orange and yellow. So we could probably work with that as well. What is that? I don't remember that being there either. We probably will have to go into the parking lot, but I've got some good information thus far. We're off to a good start. And the carts are blue? Okay, this is another one of those things where I remember it one way, but in reality, it was never that way. I remember them being yellow. But obviously, that's not the case. When was this photo taken? Does it tell us anywhere? I don't see, like, the little watermark. Usually there's a watermark with a date on it. No idea. Not a clue. But yeah, they're obviously blue, so we can make that change. I do recall them all being different colors. Like each track here had different color carts. But let's drop our guy down now over here at the parking lot so we can take a look at that red roofed structure. Oh, you know what? I bet that's just a spot for the staff. Because the whole bridge and everything like that, they probably just needed to get some additional staff members sort of deeper into the track. But this part right here, I feel like we recreated that pretty well. So we'll have to come up with some type of structure like that. Oh, and the bridge extends underneath of that as well. Okay, duly noted. And I don't see any of those light posts over here. We do have some like traffic lights. I don't know if those exist in game, but maybe we can look around. And you guys probably thought I was just joshing about the track being called main track. There's your proof right there. That's it. That's their whole naming scheme. We've got main track, track 2, and the other one's probably track 3. Who knows? We've got like a catwalk over here too. I don't remember that being there. And this, when was this one taken, dude? Again, I see no watermark of any sort. They never had like a coaster, so that's gotta be new. Let's go down a little ways. Ooh. 350? 370. It's a Z. I always have a hard time telling them apart. We've got a couple more of those light posts over here. Yeah, a spinning coaster. That's gotta be new. Gotta be. Oh, and this roof has like a chunk taken out of the corner for some reason. Also only features one picnic table, which seems like a weird choice. But we've got stairs on this side, and I think there's another staircase on the other side. We might be able to make that work too. I don't know. We don't really have that much room to work with by the station. Or wait, yes we do. It's just we have a massive queue right now taking up a bunch of space. So this is the figure 8 sort of track with 3 bridges and whatnot. We're going to have to do a little bit of terrain modification, I feel like, in game so we can get it to look a bit more accurate. And we've got some more like lights above the tunnel entrance there. Some more traffic lights. So this structure, probably the simplest one in the entire park. It's just gray, like a very light gray corrugated metal square or rectangular box. That should be the easiest one, for sure, assuming we have a material that looks similar. And then structure-wise, like base structure-wise, that looks like wood. It looks like a 6x6 or a 4x4. I'm not going to worry about adding like gutters and stuff like that. This thing, never did it. It's one of those like slingshot, launch you to the moon type things. I know my brother, you guys know Dr. Reverend Brother Doug, he did that. Oh, it's 2022. There it is. I see the watermark now. But he and my dad did that quite a few times, actually. Let's keep working our way around here. The tunnels should be easy enough. This could be one of those wedge pieces, like a wall wedge piece. Try to find like a smooth concrete. And we'll see if we can't cover up like the side of the track there to make it look a bit more like a bridge. This one has 2 lights. I think the main track only had 1 light. Well, that kind of looks like just 1 light too. We don't have to get like super detailed into it like that, I suppose. But this one's probably going to be the easiest one. If we go way further down here, you can kind of see it off in the distance. This is that one that I remember being wooden. I wonder if I was just remembering like the wooden support structure underneath, because again, from the satellite view, this portion of the track was definitely concrete or some type of asphalt. I can't really tell if that's wood or not. Nor do I really want to try to add a wood texture to our existing track. I feel like that would kind of be a nightmare. So we've got cylindrical wooden columns kind of going around the entire thing. That might be a nightmare and a half to try to recreate. But it's doable, right? It's doable. Oh, and this one was taken in 2024. Interesting. All right. Building for this one, though, we can't really get a good view at it from this angle. I was hoping we'd see some signage, too. That would tell us... They called it the Woody. They called it the Woody. Maybe that's why I thought that it was made out of wood, like the entire track. That makes sense now. We'll probably have to go back over to that main strip of road over there to get a better angle on this building. I can't really tell what type of material that is up there. Maybe just like a simple siding. But again, corrugated metal roof. This one's just a big A-frame. And it's got a bunch of like wooden posts and whatnot underneath of it. I might even have to like keep coming back to Google Earth Street View. Oh, and this is like a different time entirely. This is before watermarks. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. It's 2024 still. Here we go. Yeah, this is a much better angle of it all. It seems a little higher up, doesn't it, than the one that we've built? And I'm not going to worry about making the catwalk-like structure here for the employees. In-game, we don't even have that. And then this is the pit lane that we kind of had to get rid of, or we couldn't even really do it. There's also a little bit of a bump in the road there. And this kind of has two big bumps to it. I remember that. I don't think we're going to be able to recreate it like that in Planet Coaster, unfortunately, given our track constraints, you know? But it does seem to be maybe just a little higher up than what we created. Maybe we can tweak that some more. Oh, hang on. I wanted to see what material... Got kind of a sun flare on it. What material that is. Okay, it's just vertical, like wood plank. That's super doable. And then this whole area is going to be open. All right. So it's got kind of an overhang on either side of it. We can work with this. The nostalgia, man, the nostalgia that this place brings me is unmatched, honestly. But anyways, let's get back into the game. All right, I think the first thing that I want to work on are these bridges, because if we do it right, we might not have to modify the terrain as much, or at the very least, it'll make that process a little bit easier on us. So all we really need for that is just a smooth concrete piece. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. You're joking. There's no concrete wall pieces? I'll find something else. What about these plaster pieces? We're gonna have to change the color for sure, but really all we need for these bridges are these two pieces right here. And then we'll have to find something smaller to kind of put on the edge of the track to kind of fill it out a little bit more. But let's change the color of these to a nice dark gray, and we'll see what we think about that. I did try a different material type prior to the plaster, and it definitely was not the move. This, on the other hand, looks like concrete. So we can work with that for sure. So the bigger section of wall here is basically just gonna go alongside the lower portion of the track here, underneath of the elevated portion of the track, if you know what I mean. And then the slopes are really just to act as a retaining wall for the terrain that we'll add later. So let's try it out on this one, or let's try it out on the other one first, because this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, I feel like. I stand corrected. We did get a couple of UI improvements, which is awesome. Previously, we had to manually click confirm selection. Now you can just hit C on your keyboard and it'll do it for you, which is really pretty nice. And then if we switch over to X here, we have another little check mark for the snap distance, which is another solid addition. So sorry, Frontier, sorry. I wasn't trying to call you out or nothing. I hadn't seen anything yet. It's kind of my fault because I hadn't actually played with the update quite yet. But we're just gonna lower these down until they don't clip through the surface of the track up there. And that's pretty much it, at least for the walls of this bridge slash tunnel. And there we go. That's bridge numero uno now complete. I think it turned out great. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? There's not really much to it, but I'm really trying to recreate these as accurately as we possibly can. So all we really have to do now is kind of duplicate the same design to over here, and then we have quite a few bridges on this one as well. That might be a little trickier, especially because this one is curved. So maybe we'll get a little bit more creative with that one instead. But I'm happy with what we have so far. Let's keep going. Wait a minute. Kind of forgot. This bridge here is the one that also had that little structure with the red roof on it. So should be as easy as just kind of extending this out a little bit and then dragging these out as well. Not that big of a deal.
Many minutes later.
Now I know these are just bridges, right? But it really is important to me that I accurately represent what these tracks look like in real life. And I'd say we're kind of nailing it so far. This one was surprisingly difficult to create because I didn't realize how much the track dips down here on the edges. I originally was going to have this wall sort of be flush alongside the track, but I decided it's not really worth it. Not really worth to go through all that trouble. So I'm happy with the way that this one turned out, and I did finally extend this little bit on this side as well, so we have plenty of space for that little gazebo looking deal with the red roof. These, on the other hand, were much easier because it was basically I just had to duplicate that one and slide them on into position. Super easy. It was this one on the end that I started to have some real troubles with. Again, because the curve and the... Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So instead of having the upper portion of the tunnel be concrete as well, I just got rid of that entirely. So we still have like the foundational sort of walls going on. And I'm hoping that once we start to add the terrain in here, it'll really start to take shape. I'm kind of thinking that we're going to have to hold off on the Woody. Now we know it has a proper name, the Woody. I think we're going to have to hold off on this and kind of focus on it on its own episode entirely. I don't even want to start on it because we're not going to have enough time. There's no way we'd be able to finish the stations today as well. So I'm going to mess around with the terrain and we'll see how it ends up looking.
3 hours later.
I feel like this goes without saying, but that took quite a bit longer than I was expecting. Our end result, though, I think looks incredible. I mean, this is about as close as we're going to be able to get to a one-to-one replica of these tracks. So I'll take you guys on a very brief tour of everything. Honestly, if we don't get started on the stations now, I'm going to be sleeping in the office tonight. And that's something that I don't really want to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, this chair's super comfortable, but it's not that comfortable. You know what I mean? And I kind of felt like this track was a little bit easier to work with just because the mounds could be a little bit larger, which is interesting because there's more of them. More bridges means more terrain modification, of course. It turned out great, though. Like I keep saying, I'm very happy with the way that everything's turning out here. But now we can finally get started on these go-kart stations. I think I want to tackle this one first because it's definitely going to be the easier of the two. Again, we're going to have to save the Woody for its own episode entirely, but this one should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now we should be able to align scenery with the station grid, and we're just going to use this corrugated wall here. Actually, that might work out pretty well for the roof. Let me see. Is that going to be small enough? Maybe. Could be a little bit larger too, I suppose. Anyways, I'm already getting distracted. So we're just going to start bringing some of these around the corners. And then the other thing that we need to find is some sort of a really skinny column slash pillar. I mean, this could work. Oh wait, it's round. It does have to be square. We could go with this and scale it down. We'd have to like duplicate them quite a few times. Let's see what it looks like fully scaled down. I still don't think that that's skinny enough. I knew that this was gonna be a problem, dude. I haven't seen anything in this catalog that's even remotely close to what we need to make this work. What if instead of a column, we use something like this? What the heck? Is that gonna happen every single time I choose a new piece for this? I mean, it's definitely skinny enough. I don't even know, what's it for? Hoarding primary support. Who knows? Who the heck knows? But it will most certainly get the job done here. And much like we've done many, many times before, we're gonna select both of those, the wall and that pillar that's not actually a pillar. We're gonna change our grid a little bit so we can get it perfectly aligned to the corner. Then we'll plop another one down over there. Now we can just delete those walls. We don't need that one in the middle anymore. Well, we do kind of need a wall so we can start duplicating these around everywhere else. So we're gonna want this guy and this wall. We'll duplicate that, rotate it around, and we'll just start placing. The nice part about not really having like a proper wall around the base, I mean, I realize that there are walls here now, but there won't be when we're finished. So we don't have to align our like entrance and exit gates, really. We've had to do that with all of our other builds thus far, and it's just a little tedious, you know? It's nice to not have to worry about that for a change. So now that we have all of our posts in, all we really need is the smaller version of this corrugated sheet metal wall. I'm thinking this guy right here. And once again, we can just sort of start duplicating those around. I want to make sure that I like the way that that's looking first. Yeah, seems good to me. This structure definitely is quite a bit larger than the real thing. But that's okay, you know, it's not like we can really change that. I'm pretty sure the station size for go-karts is pretty set in stone. Even if you like decrease the amount of cars or carts running at one time. I know you can drop it down to 6. Why is it not letting me place? Okay, now it's working just fine. That was weird. I think that looks pretty good. The only thing that I don't like is we're getting some weird texture clipping happening on that wall there. I don't know if there's anything that we could do to fix that though. There is a different roof piece that we could use. One that's a little more flat. Ooh, actually, you know what? I like the texture of this one a little bit more. And we can kind of put it lower like the real one. Let's do that. The color's horrible. We can change that really quick. And then we're getting rid of the rust spots. The real one, dude, the real one ain't rusty and it's been there for years. Like I said, definitely the easier of the two. Oh, it's still clipping through the wall. Okay, but it's at least better than what we previously had. I'll take it. I really can't complain too much. And I think the underside actually looks a little bit better as well. So there we go. Track 2, again, we don't really know the name of the thing, is complete. Let's move on to the main track. This one's gonna be a little bit trickier, I think. Pretty much the same procedure as before, though. We've found our corner for this building. What we need now are some really thick, like I'm talking real thick with 2 C's, columns. We have plain pillars or concrete pillars. Those are way too skinny. What if, hang on, what if, let's just place this here for a sec. We scale it. I really am trying to utilize this tool more frequently. Okay, that's better, but it's not tall enough. So let me see if the 2-meter one, oh my god, why does it keep doing that? Let me see if the 2-meter one would maybe be a little bit better for us. Scale that up 300%. Oh yeah, absolutely. Another problem though, we need an equally thick concrete beam on top of this, like going horizontal. What about this little guy? We'll change the color of it. Make sure it's for sure what we want. And then we'll scale it up. Too big. Okay, let's try like 200%. It's a little bit better. The color doesn't match. God, but the sizing is just right. It is short though. So we're gonna have to like duplicate this thing over and over and over again to get it to work. What if we make the gray slightly darker? Would it blend in a little bit better? Only one way to find out, right? Oh yeah, actually. That's perfect. But how does it look when it's duplicated side by side? I'm not a big fan of that seam right there. Maybe there's something else, something better. We could sort of double these up, like put two side by side. Because the seams on this are far less noticeable than that other thing that we just had. Color-wise, it should match too. I think dark gray is the one that we were going with for this. Let's go with that. Again, it's gonna kind of suck to have to duplicate them over and over and over, like the entire length and width of the building, but it's much more doable, I think.
A few moments later.
Okay, see now we're getting somewhere. We've got our base supports down underneath. Kind of overhangs a little bit. I think, if I remember right, I think the IRL version does as well. Even if it doesn't, we'll just say that it does. And I know for sure there should be another row of those columns going down the center. But since the guests can't use a proper pit lane and instead they have to continue to, go through the start-stop with every single lap, I don't really want to put stuff in their way. I feel like that could end pretty badly. But I did make sure to leave enough space to where we could have just a small staircase on either side. I think the challenging part about this is going to be like getting a path to work in here that doesn't clip through the ceiling on the underside. Maybe it'll just be decorative. Maybe it'll be a decorative observation deck. I don't know. But we are now ready to move on to the roof. And we already know it's got to be yellow. It's got to be corrugated metal. So it really should be pretty easy. I'm not going to leave that like chunk out of it, how the real one is. I think it would probably look best if it's just all one big piece. Oh no. The closest thing that we have, well, hang on, we could maybe try the market roof too. Let's see what that would look like in yellow. Oh, you know what? It's the same exact roof. It's just this one is metallic and maybe a little too metallic. It's called the gilded roof, and that checks out. It looks like it's made out of solid gold. Let's try this, and we'll see what we think of it. The yellow's maybe too bright, and I don't love how you still see that, I don't even know what that is. Wood? You can kind of see the wood beams through it. I mean, it's better than... Hang on, my light is also on, so that's not really helping. It's better than the gilded one. So let's just... We'll roll with that. Does it have, like, a skirting, though, to it? There's the 4 meter. Here we go. For the corners. Yeah. Yeah, see, that does a lot. That does a lot. Dudes and dudettes, I think we absolutely nailed this building. It's like we're at the track right now. It's kind of weirding me out. We will still need a staircase and whatnot, but I'm gonna go ahead and tackle that while I also tackle a bit of scenery throughout at least these 2 tracks. We're gonna worry about that guy a little while later on. So I'll see you in just a few minutes.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And just like that, ladies and gents, the deed is done. I was much less meticulous with my plant placement this time around, and I don't feel like you can tell. I mean, I can tell. Maybe some of you guys can tell. But anyways, I didn't get a chance to finish the little red roof building that's supposed to go on the top side of the bridge or tunnel, whatever you want to call that thing. So I'm thinking I'll probably do that off camera just prior to recording the next episode where we tackle the super phallic looking go-kart track. And now it's called the Woody. Now we know it's called the Woody. It makes so much sense. My childhood is ruined, dude. I can't believe I never put two and two together. Anyways, I'm curious now to see if our... Ooh, the lights from the go-karts look really nice under there. See if our prestige improved. It did not. Scenery rating still 0%. Something fishy is going on here. Scenery rating still 0%. Maybe next episode, after we, save, quit, come back, it'll kind of refresh itself? I don't know, that seems weird. I thought for sure that it would bring both the scenery rating and the prestige up a bit. But on that note, unfortunately, that is where we're going to have to wind things down at for today. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.